I want to thank you for tuning in to Narrow Life Videos. You know, in the last video I said that I would be starting a video series on exposing the Antichrist church system. So this will be the first of many, I believe, videos on that topic. But before I can, the videos ahead will be, I pray, God's will, that they will be eye-opening and shocking. But before we can do that, we have to lay the framework and the groundwork. So this first video is In the Beginning, the Roman Catholic Church, is the title of this video. And the reason that going back to the beginning is important is so you can understand the foundation, and you can understand the work of Satan and what he has done, and the powerful spirit of Antichrist and the system that it has become. If we go all the way back, and this is the early 1800s, I believe some say there's different times, but I believe it's right around the 1800s, was the form of the Roman Catholic Church. That was the only church to be considered the Christian church of its time. And it had the papacy. Of course, the Roman Catholics believe that Peter was the first pope, which we know is ridiculous. We know it's blasphemy. We know it's not true. But that's what they believe. So they had the papacy, and the Roman Catholic Church began to grow. There was a man named Martin Luther who disagreed with the papacy. And because he disagreed with the papacy, he broke off and formed the Lutheran Church. And then you have others, who broke off and formed different aspects of the Protestant Church. And then so on and so forth. So today you have all kinds of denominations, anywhere from United Methodist to evangelical, whatever that form is, whether it's Assemblies of God or true Bible churches, and then you go off and you have Baptists, and you got the First Baptist, you have the Baptists that are independent, you have, the list goes on and on and on, and you have all these denominations. But all of these denominations broke off from the original, only one Christian Roman Catholic Church. And you have that throughout history, where basically it was some men who said, you know what, I don't agree with the papacy, I don't agree with purgatory, I don't agree with baby baptism, I don't agree with this and this and this, so I'm going to form off and I'm going to create my own church. And that's exactly what they did, and they've done it throughout history. Here's the problem, though. The problem is, I have people write me every day, even after the last few videos I did, I've had people write me saying, hey, you speak the truth and keep preaching, but the problem is there are good churches out there, we just got to find the right good church. But the problem is this, there is no right good church. And now I'm talking about this system. There is no good church. You can't go to a building and find some believers in there and find the right place where you can sit and God would be okay with it. That you can't do it. Jesus said it best, and I've said this in other videos and I'll say it again. He said that a good tree cannot produce bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot produce good fruit. So if we go back to the beginning, to the Roman Catholic Church, it is very clear that that's a bad tree. Now we'll get into other videos in the future why that's a bad tree. But for one, we can say it's a bad tree because it believes in the papacy. It believes that there's one man that can sit and rule and be the representative of Jesus Christ on earth. Okay, they believe in purgatory. They believe that you can live in sin and then you can go to a place called purgatory and you can be purified and then go to heaven. They believe that you gain salvation by works, not by grace. They believe it's by works. So them three things alone, and then I guess, like I said in later videos, we'll get into some in-depth stuff of why the Roman Catholic Church is definitely a bad tree. But on them three things alone, we can say that this is a bad tree. It cannot produce good fruit. So no matter how much Luther disagreed, no matter how much all these other people that that Wesley, John Wesley, the list goes on and on. No matter how much they disagreed and started their own church, it still comes from this bad tree. Therefore, it cannot be good fruit. In future videos, we'll talk about and we'll explore what Jesus really meant when He said to Peter, "On this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it." We'll talk about what the new covenant means. We'll talk about the fact that Jesus even said to the woman at the well that the time is coming and is now. Well, you will not worship God on this mountain or in that temple, but you will worship God in spirit and truth, because He is a spirit. We're going to talk about all that. But first I want to start by saying that all of these denominations, these people are saying, well, my church is good, or this church over here is good. That church over there in your church is a bad fruit produced from a bad tree. It cannot be good. Therefore, we have to look at it and we have to reject it as bad fruit. Because if we are fulfilling and being fruit inspectors as Christ has directed us to do, we would find it to be a bad fruit. It is the Antichrist system. And if we continue to believe that this church is good or that church is good, then what's going to happen is this system will destroy us. The system will kill you. The system will suck all the spiritual life out of you, and you will be destroyed, and you will be sent to the lake of fire. How do I know that? I know that because if we are not smack dab in the middle of God's will, then if we're not in the middle of His will, living His will, then how could we ever hear His voice and follow Him? And those who hear my voice and follow me are my sheep, He said. So, the Roman Catholic Church is a bad tree. We're going to talk about that in the next few videos, why it's a bad tree according to the definition of Christ. And then we're going to come to the simple conclusion, how can any good fruit come off of a bad tree? And if we come to the conclusion that no good fruit can come off of a bad tree, then any church system that's there today is a bad fruit. It's rotten, and it will destroy you. Until next time, to the genuine born-again believers in Jesus Christ, God bless.